Hello, Guru Nation. Welcome to episode 132 of Random Musings from the Clinical Trials Guru. This will go on YouTube as well. Happy Friday. Happy Good Friday to everyone out there. Daniel Regitt. Daniel Regitt is the CRA coach from thecracoach.com. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I love putting the before everything on domain names, by the way, as a side note, because most of my domains have a the in front of it because the word or the phrase without the was taken. So was CRA coach taken?
I have no idea, but probably I have the same reason why I chose the CRA coach.
The CRA Academy is what I have. CRA Academy was taken. The Clinical Trials Guru is what I have. Clinical Trials Guru was taken. The clinical, it just goes on and on. I love the before the domain name. So that's a tip for you guys. Free tip, okay, for everyone listening. Daniel Regitt is an amazing senior CRA. He's been doing this a really long time. How long have you been a CRA?
I've been a CRA now for 5-6 years, but I've been in the industry working for major CROs for about a decade now.
Wow. Okay. A decade. Yeah, I've been in for like 12, 13 years, but only the last year. I'm going on year 2 as a CRA, and that's just a contract CRA. But Daniel has way more experience with traditional CROs than I do. And so we're going to be bringing you that side and that perspective from a real CRO. And this video is going to be titled CRA Dream or Nightmare Job. It could have also been called The Good or the Bad and the Ugly of being a CRA. There's so many titles we could have done, and it's still up for debate, but your idea was good, CRA Dream or Nightmare, right?
Yeah.
So let's get into the good first. What's the good? And then I'll chip in with some of my comments as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people that also reach out to me with my coaching program that want to get into the CRA job. So obviously there's a wee bit of hype around it, also from what I hear from your feedback. And I actually went on the internet, and like CNN Money in 2013, in their listing of best jobs in the United States, it was ranked number 9. So,
and that's low, by the way.
Definitely ahead of flipping burgers, though. And I understand why people want to get into the job. I mean, there's a bunch of reasons. And by the way, for the people watching on YouTube, I did prepare a little bit. So if I'm staring down at my paper here, that's because I'm prepared, as every CRA should be. But one thing is that really every day is different in this job. I mean, I did flip burgers once at Mickey D's, and staring at the clock and just hoping that time would pass because it's just so monotonous. And as a CRA, really every day is different. Every part of every day is going to be different. And that really is awesome. Time just flies, and it's just really, really interesting. And it's an expanding industry, obviously. What I always tell my friends is you don't have to wait for your boss to keel over for a promotion in this industry. You're not going to be sitting there for 20 years. Companies grow, and you join the company, and then they add 2, 3, 4 team members, and then you're their functional manager, and it just grows really much more quickly than a lot of other jobs. And obviously, and you have a bunch of options where to go from as a CRA. You can become obviously contract CRA and make a ton of money on your own schedule. You're highly qualified to manage and run your own sites, as Dan can tell you.
Huge market there.
Absolutely. Become a team lead. You can become a clinical operations manager if you're into managing people more than the processes. You can become a project manager if you're more into managing the processes and also the people. But there's just a ton of options for you where to go from there. And those are all very well-paid options. And not that being a CRA is not a well-paid option. That is actually another reason why a lot of people are attracted to the job.
That's reason number that's reason number 1 by far. So first of all, number 9, I mean, Yeah, I've never seen it below number 5 any year on, like, there's so many lists that do these things. So I think I saw it on Forbes or something. It was number 1 year. I've never seen it
I'm not
like
surprised.
under top 5. So this is the brand name. We were talking a little bit before the interview and the pre-interview. CRA is really, if there ever was a household name for research from our industry, it probably would be CRA. Just because
Yeah.
it's very public facing, and it still is shrouded in mystery. Like, people still don't understand what that means. What is a CRA? Are you experimenting on lab rats? What are you doing? Like, they don't understand that
On
it's
study
just
coordinators.
we're experimenting all the time. Yeah, so
Yeah, if we knew
uh,
what we're doing, we wouldn't call it research, huh?
that's right. I mean, people think it's like, you're wearing a white lab coat when you go to work. Like, once they get into the industry, and by the way, it's very difficult to get in as a CRA if you don't have any research experience. So you're
Oh, yeah.
probably not going to go that route. You're probably going to go the route of study coordinator, research
Yeah.
assistant, trial master file, and then you work your way up. Or you can do like I did. I went from coordinator to site owner to contract CRA, and then to CRO owner. I'm working my way up to a sponsor, Daniel, and it's coming. I can almost taste it. It's coming. It is coming.
Very
It's there.
good.
But yeah, CRA is great. Money. That's why people do it. Money. People
Yeah.
like to travel. At least they think they like to travel. You and many others and Facebook groups will attest that it actually gets very tedious. We're gonna get into that part in the bad part of being a CRA. Potentially, but some
Yeah.
people enjoy it. Some people, they don't have families. I think it's the perfect job for someone in their 20s without a family, because you can stack a whole bunch of money, and
yeah.
then you can have more of a work-life balance. Maybe you can own a site at that point.
Let me interject there, though, because me being a dad of 3 kids,
Yeah.
what I like a lot is I'm away like 2, 3 days a week on average. And
Okay.
then when you
That
come,
much? I didn't know that. I thought you were in the office now.
I'm in the office now, yeah, but my
Okay.
home office, I mean, obviously, yeah.
Oh,
But
no, I thought you were 100% from home now.
no, I work from my home office, but obviously I travel as a CRA,
Ah,
so
I did not know
that's
that. Okay.
yeah, no, I'm traveling like 2 to 3 days a week.
Okay.
But when I come home, I get the "Yay, Daddy's back home" thing. But it's not like I was out on an oil rig for 3 months and I missed out on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I get kind of like the best of both worlds. Is kind of
Sure.
being away from home is kind of nice every
Yeah.
once in a while, and not having to listen to anything because I just dropped my shoes in front of the bed and whatnot. And then you come back and you get the "Hey, Daddy's home" and all that kind of stuff.
Best of
So
both worlds. Interesting perspective. I've
can
never
be.
lived that, so I don't know. I don't have kids, nor do I ever travel really for my CRA gig. I travel now for my CRO gig, but it's not that frequent.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for sharing that perspective. Okay, so it's
Sure.
maybe not that bad, but I know some CRAs travel 5 days a week.
It really depends on the CRO you're working for, I guess, and the
Yeah.
project you're on. Yeah, but I wanted to get back to the pay, because I don't know, a lot of people that don't know that aren't CRAs
Yeah.
might be interested to know actually what kind of pay is out there as
Sure.
a CRA. And senior CRAs, for those who are interested, they can make between 100 and 120,000 annual salary. So just to give you a ballpark figure, what senior CRAs can make, and you can become a senior pretty easily in 5 years. Well, easily is relative, obviously, to your performance and whatnot, and your survival in this job. But 5 years, if you're good at the job, and you can easily be a senior CRA making that kind of money. So I did want to put that stat out there.
Senior CRAs can, yeah.
Yeah.
And contract CRAs could make more. You could
Oh, yeah.
negotiate. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Depending on how experienced you are and also how you schedule your stuff. I know of contract CRAs making, well, 200,000 a year, but that's nothing you're going to be doing for 10 years consecutively. You're going to have some breaks in there
Or some breakdowns. I know someone. I have a friend who was contract CRAing all of 2016. She
Yeah.
did excellent. She made about 300K.
Yeah.
However, she was traveling literally every day of
seven
the
days a
year.
week. Yeah.
Just about. And she
Hmm.
was
Yeah.
juggling three different protocols and traveling constantly for each one. So it
Yeah.
could wear on you. And she said there's no way she would do that again. She started
Hmm.
getting some health problems. And so
Oh, sure.
naturally she pulled back. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
possible. It's just,
Yeah. You
and
can make a
she's
ton of money.
single, no kids, you know.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no newborn at home. She's traveling like 30 days out of the month. Um, Yeah, other awesome things about being a CRA is from my personal experience working most of those years for a major CRO, is you really work with great people. Seriously, a lot of companies will tell you, "Hey, we got the greatest people. You'll be working with awesome people and so forth."
Hmm.
But in this industry, CROs, big CROs, from my personal experience, I have to say that is absolutely true. I only have a few ideas why, maybe because I think the jerks really don't make it too long in this industry. They get kicked out.
Do you think
You
so?
yeah, you do need interpersonal skills, and you do have to be likable, and people. You have to be a team player and all that. And you have to be able to do your own thing very well,
Hmm.
but you also have to be a team player. And I've only worked with literally one person over all those years that I
Hmm.
disliked.
Yeah.
Everybody else has been either great, awesome, great, or neutral. But compare that to a lot of other industries. I mean, back to my flipping burgers example. Yeah, you can be stuck in jobs where if you hate just one colleague or two, it's like Monday through Friday is walking through hell. So
Yeah, I'll save some of my examples for the bad when we get into
yeah,
the bad segments because
yeah,
I have a slightly different perspective. First of all, I've only worked for someone else like twice,
hmm,
but one of those times was not a good experience. So
yeah,
obviously it's anecdotal, but I've interacted with a lot of monitors, and we can get into some of that during the bad
cool,
part. So what else is
absolutely.
good? The money.
Cool. You got a ton of cool perks as a CRA.
Mhm.
Obviously, you're traveling a lot, as we just discussed. So, especially in the United States, you sign up for all these travel point programs, and so you get your hotel points and you get your flight mileage points and all that cool stuff. By the way, for anybody listening who is a CRA, if you have not heard of him, if you've been living under a rock, the points guy. Again, the. It's
Again,
really,
another
yeah,
the
yeah.
yeah.
People who know what they're talking about always put a the in front. The Points Guy on Facebook. Just follow this guy. He does nothing else but give you awesome advice on what you can do with your points and what kind of programs you can link with others and what kind of credit card specials are out this week and all that kind of stuff. So definitely check him out. That being said, for example, I stay most of the time I stay at Marriott hotels. It's because my company
A
policy.
lot of CRAs do that. I've noticed
Yeah,
that amongst a lot of my colleagues.
yeah, and I also often fly with United Airlines. Well, awesomeness, United Airlines and Marriott, you can shift your points from one to the other. So with all the nights that I'm staying at Marriott hotels, I can shift them over to United and fly all over the place.
Huh.
And literally right now, my wife and kids are down in Costa Rica for a couple of months. And with the points that I have as of we are speaking right now, March 30th, 2018, I have four free back and forth flights to Costa Rica that I can take.
Wow.
So those kinds of things are obviously awesome perks
Yeah.
that you do
Did
not get as a study coordinator.
yeah, do you guys side topic, do you guys own a house out there or do you
No,
rent a
no, we
house?
just love Costa
Okay.
Rica. But
Ab-
I'd be talking for 2 hours now about Costa
yeah,
Rica.
yeah. I've been told the same. That's why I'm curious.
Yeah, yeah, we can do that off the call.
Sure.
I'll be happy to give you all my input about Costa Rica.
Okay, so travel
Uh,
perks.
Yeah, the travel perks,
Mhm.
and plus I have like 10 days of free rental car with our car vendor that we use as a
Ah,
company, so I
okay.
can use that and rent 10 days of car
What
for
about
free.
Uber?
Uber is what I usually use just to get to the airport and back. Just because I don't want to look for a parking lot, and plus, just from my location in the Denver area to the Denver airport, just makes the most sense for me to take an Uber out to the
Okay.
airport. But then
Okay.
when I get to a city, I'll usually get a rental car. And one of the reasons is, well, first of all, we're supposed to when we get there, and it just makes more sense usually there because I like to then get around and maybe go do some grocery shopping for food and so forth and so on sometimes. So I'll like to have a rental car. And another reason why I like to have a rental car is I do it so often that I obviously get bumped up to executive, elite, platinum, whatnot status.
Yeah.
Which means I get off the airplane at the airport, I hop into the shuttle to the rental car facility, and I just pick a car off the lot and drive off the lot. They scan my driver's license, and that's it. So it's as simple as it gets.
So you go
and
look
then
for the Mustang or the Camaro.
Seriously, Dan, that's one of the points that I have on my list is over the last couple of months, I've really been test driving Dodge Challengers.
I have one. I own one.
Awesomeness, yeah.
Yeah.
Ford F-150s, Chevy Camaros. So that's also
Life is tough, Daniel.
I know. I think that's so often when I'm driving out to the hotel in the evening from the hotel when I arrive somewhere, and I'm sitting behind my Camaro and I'm going, man, life sucks as a CRA.
So stressful.
It is, but not particularly that moment. So
Yeah.
definitely those are a bunch of perks that appeal to me, and I bet appeal to a lot of people. All of those things.
But does it ever get old?
It hasn't yet.
Okay.
It hasn't yet. They bring out new car models every year.
Yeah.
and no, other perks also is obviously with your hotel status. You stay at Marriott's, in my example, you stay there so often that you often get bumped up in your hotel rooms.
Yeah.
So I'll get like the corner panoramic bedroom view on the 15th floor and stuff like that.
Look at you go. Now, are there
Nice.
any more? There's more perks, right? Or are there any other positives?
Well, that's kind of what I was shooting from the hip prior to our call.
Okay.
So,
So I got one more to add on, but you kind of covered
Yeah.
it. Upward mobility, but you already kind of covered that. I mean, it's a great, like, let's say you get in as a CRA and you don't like it. There's other things you can do, right? Like, it's not a dead end. You can go in different directions. So I think that's another positive. And by the way, we're about to get negative on CRA and maybe the industry, but I think at the end of the day, it's still a good idea to be a CRA if it's right for you. Even if it's not, you can experiment and see if it's right for you. So this is a good segue. So Daniel, I know you. I don't know you well, but we've done maybe 3 or 4 of these.
Yep.
And we've talked off the air a few times. Obviously, you have the CRA coach, so I see some entrepreneurial tendencies in you. Would you describe yourself as an entrepreneur?
Partially, yeah, with my coaching business, definitely. I mean, I do coachings on weekends with either one-on-one or really small groups online. So I definitely enjoy that. So, and I'm planning on growing that.
Yeah, and everyone's different. There's no right or wrong answer, just who you are. Like I'm 100% entrepreneur. The only reason I even took a CRA gig is so I can build my CRO and have money to pay my taxes without having to pull from my savings. So it's all lined up to like get me to that pharma level and then just start being the sponsor. So it's all entrepreneur for me. I've worked in 2 CRA gigs where I have not worked for myself. And even there, I worked for myself. I was an independent contractor, but I had to report to somebody else. And I told you, one of the experiences was great. I'm still doing it. And the other one, not so great. I would say maybe even bad. And I actually was thinking to myself while I was doing that, hey, I kind of want to quit. I don't need the money that bad. But I could totally see why CRAs get stressed. I mean, I've had CRAs in my office as a site owner. I've had CRAs in my office crying, telling me their problems. And these are like senior CRAs, like 15, 20 years CRAs. Right?
That's where my clients come from,
And I never understood that until I tasted it, until I did it. And I got teamed up with this horrible lead CRA, micromanager. Like, he was just pointing out errors just to show me that he's smarter than me or
He's more
something.
experienced. How could
Yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah.
How could you overlook this?
And he had no idea I had a video blog. I think I would have been treated a little differently, but I never really like blogged about it other than just sharing the concepts like I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But I totally understand and I have empathy now why CRAs get stressed, why they quit. And if it, like, I'm an entrepreneur, so that's why I was asking you, do you think, I mean, you seem to enjoy your job, but you also seem to have entrepreneurial tendencies. Would you ever be the type to go all in on owning a site? And do you see that in your future, or
More the coaching business, because there's seriously, the more people I talk to, and I coach CRAs, like major CRAs that have been in the industry, been CRAs for 6 years, and so forth, and the feedback that I get is so awesome, and I really enjoy that a lot. And there's just nobody out there who actually takes CRAs by the hand and gives them, like, this is the system you need. Because again, we mentioned that on a previous call once, everything's standardized in clinical trials. Now, if you could fast forward 10 years into your experience of a CRA, you would have everything set up in your own work processes, your own tools. And that's what I provide people, because it's not rocket science. Ironically, it's medical research science. But it's really pretty much simple stuff, but there's
yeah,
just a lot of experience that goes into setting up systems that work. And I really just enjoy that a lot, is basically bringing people way up to speed within one weekend, where they're like, oh my God.
yeah,
Yeah, so that I could imagine going all in, absolutely.
yeah?
And
You
that's
definitely
that's what I'm
have,
working
you
towards.
definitely have potential there. I even told some of my other CRO partners, when we ramp up and scale up and have a good
Mm,
amount of projects and we need like to think about hiring a workforce and training, you'll
mm.
be you'll be one of the first ones. I mean, everyone goes through our CRA Academy, but you'd be the first one we call in after that, like for the advanced level course.
Be happy to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that's good. That's good. So you do have entrepreneurial tendencies, because I'm asking because there's so many people out there, CRAs, or
Yeah.
people that want to be CRAs, that want to be entrepreneurs, and you can as a contract CRA, but you're
Yeah.
not really an entrepreneur because you're still reporting to someone else. If you want to own a site, you can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And so it's a good entry point to get in and kind of learn the industry, see where you fit in, and maybe you're just going to be an employee, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, absolutely. People are different. Everybody's different, and
Hmm.
like you said, there's no right or wrong answer. And just to add to that, you still work for somebody as a contract CRA, and you're reporting to somebody else. From my friends that are contract CRAs, the obvious benefit compared to a regular employee situation is you're just doing that one project. So if you have, like in your case, you have this team lead who just sucks and you hate him,
Yeah,
it's just for a limited time, and then you're out of there.
yeah.
And I worked as a contract CRA in Europe and Germany for a while, and that was also my experience. It was like the most catastrophic trials. You would not imagine the chaos and the situations,
Mm.
but I'm contracted for this amount of time for these tasks. I'll do my thing. I'm out of there.
Yeah.
If you guys go under as a corporation, ain't my business, ain't my problem. So that kind of does take the edge off that if you're a contract CRA. So just wanted to add that for.
Oh yeah, just disclaimer, it's going to be very hard to get a contract CRA gig without getting some kind of
Yeah,
employee CRA experience first.
absolutely.
FYI. But okay, so let's get
Yeah.
into the bad, the dark side, the
Yes.
tears, the blood, sweat, and tears,
Yeah.
literally.
What I hear a lot, and I get a lot of calls from people that want to hire me as a coach to kind of get into the CRA job, and I really discriminate between where it makes sense and where not. I will turn down people, and I have done many
Yeah.
times, where I just know this is not going to make sense for you at this point in time in your career.
Are these people
Um,
that try to argue with you?
no, not
No.
at all. No. They're just interested. They're reaching out to me, and they're like,
Okay.
"Hey, I'm in a completely different industry. I'd love to become a CRA and so forth. Love to hire you." Then I'm like, "No.
Ah, I see what you're
You
saying.
need to understand at least the lingo.
You got to
If
get
you're
the
a
basics down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're a study coordinator, I can pick you up because you understand what I'm talking about.
Sure.
And then you're going to go into a job interview armed with nothing your competitors that are also interviewing for that job will have. So you will be able to answer questions in a way that will just knock all your competition off. So it's definitely going to help you get that job, I
Yeah.
promise. But yeah, basically is if somebody's completely inexperienced, then there's no point. But I get a lot of questions, or I get a lot of people that have the impression about the traveling, like, oh, I love to travel so much.
Yeah, I get that too.
I hate to break it to you guys. You will travel a lot, but it's going to be, you're working in your home office if you're then home based. You're working. You're going to be packing your suitcase in like the last 10 minutes before the Uber pulls up, which drives you to the airport. You're going to be rushing through. Yeah, you're going to have TSA pre-check or whatnot, a priority boarding, but you're going to rush through security. You're going to make it to the gate. You're going to be there like 10 minutes to boarding. On the airplane, you're going to be sitting in coach.
In the middle seat.
Maybe you have to even book in advance, and then you could get a window or an aisle seat. Yeah, tip from the CRA coach.
There's another one.
Air travel in time so you don't have the middle seat. But you might be sitting there trying to type away on your laptop in coach, which is fun. And then you're out of the airport, bam, shuttle, rental car to the hotel, follow up on stuff, go to bed. Next morning, get up, go to the site, do your thing, and then you're going to be, if you're an average CRA, you're going to be like squeezing into the last minute, and then signature and whatnot, and file it, and out and down to the car, and off to the rental car facility again, drop off the car, shuttle to the airport, through security. Bah, you just got your
This
flight.
is after you finished your report, right?
No, the report, I write my reports when I'm in my office again.
Oh, do you?
So, or at the hotel. But
I try to finish my report at the site, like while I'm there.
Yeah, it just has to do with the way I organize things.
Okay.
And but that'd be going into a lot of detail now, why and what. But and then you get home, and then it's 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight, 1 a.m., sometimes 2 a.m., because flights can be delayed and stuff like that. So, and by the way, in between this story, that was your experience of San Diego, La Jolla, Arizona, Dallas, Newark. Wow. So
It's not like you're going to be going to visit the Grand Canyon when you go to Phoenix to monitor.
Yeah, if I'm flying up to Seattle, where I have a couple of sites, it's not that I'm spending 4 hours doing a picnic on Mount Rainier.
And if you do, you're losing money. So I went through my CRO gig, when I go to the East Coast, because I'm in California, I'll take my wife. I'll be monitoring 2 days, but we'll spend a week out there. And obviously they'll reimburse me my time, but after I pay for my wife's flight and all the stuff we do, we're actually breaking even or losing money on that. So it's like working for free to have the experience, really.
Yeah. And I can already hear a couple of people thinking in the back of their minds, well, I'll just make the time then. I'll just plan that extra time and take those 4 hours to go strolling down to Fisherman's Wharf and whatnot. I'd like to introduce those people to a little bit of simple math, and it's just not to be arrogant, but just to give you a realistic feel of what's really going on there. Is if you're working for a major CRO, they make money by billing to their clients, and what they bill is for days on site. That's one of the huge metrics in this industry, is how many days are you on site. And usually the benchmark is like 8 to 10 days on site per month. Now, if you do the math, if you look at just one visit to a site, you're looking at least, and I'm talking about an ideal situation here where you're really good, you're really prepared and experienced. You got, like, in 1 hour, you've prepared everything for that visit, and you're ready to go. Then when you get back, you only need 2 hours for following up on everything, and that means writing a trip report. Now, for somebody who is not a CRA yet, a trip report can be like up to 80 questions. Right now, I'm on a project where if I write a trip report, I have to write replies and details to 80 questions. You have to submit your expense reports for that trip with receipts and everything, all the breakdowns and whatnot. You have to write a follow-up letter. You have to send it, and you have to file that. And when you were on site, likely you've collected documents that go into the trial master file. So whatever your process is for getting them filed, you also have to finish that up. So if you could do all that in 2 hours, plus you also spend time at the site, which is usually 8 hours. So you have 8 hours on site. And then in the United States, at least, travel time will easily be 4 hours to get there and 4 hours to get back home if you don't just have local sites. More power to you if they're all in your neighborhood. But usually, if you think about it, it might be like 45 minutes to get to the airport, 30 minutes at the airport, get through security, get to the gate and so forth. You have to plan in 30 minutes buffer. Because if you get stuck in a
That's
traffic
being
jam,
very, very liberal. I mean, if you want to play it safe, it's an hour for those things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then you have an hour and a half flight maybe to get wherever, and then 45 minutes to the hotel. That's 4 hours
That's
in
one of the
total.
short flights. That's an
Yeah,
hour and a half flight. That's
absolutely.
a Denver
So
to Phoenix flight, not
yeah,
a LA to New York flight.
we're talking about the dark side of being a CRA. So
Yeah.
this was the beautiful example where everything is just as perfect as can be. That was a total of 19 hours per each monitoring visit that you're working, traveling, and doing stuff. Now, we said 8 to 10 days on site, so let's do an average of 9 days on site times
Per
19
month, right?
hours.
This is per month, just so
Per
everyone knows.
month,
Yeah.
yes, per month. So 19 hours per visit for 9 days on site per month leaves you with 171 hours that it takes you to, from start to finish, do your monitoring visits.
Yeah.
Now, an average month will have 22 work days, roundabout, times 8 hours a day as an average employee would be working. That's 176 hours, which leaves you with 5 hours every month for everything else you need to do as a CRA.
Now that's just Monday through Friday, not the weekends.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So you still have your weekends.
Yeah. So this is just for somebody who's thinking like a normal employee in a normal job where I work my 8 hours a day,
I
Monday
got
through
you.
Friday. So just so you have kind of like a comparison what's going on when you're a CRA. Now this year was kind of like the ideal situation. On top of that, in these 5 hours that are hypothetically left now, what else are you expected to do as a CRA? And I, again, did a little bit of a bullet point list here for people that are interested in getting more of an idea of what does a CRA do on top of just traveling. I just see them at the site. They're just traveling. You have to be in regular contact with all of your sites. So again, depending on your project, you might easily have between 10 and 20 sites you manage, and you have to be in regular contact with them, and you have to prove that. So you have to document it. So you need to account for that time for documentation too. You will have a lot of training requirements, and I'm not just talking when you get onto a project, you read the protocol, you read the site management manual.
So let me ask you about the documented emails. So every CRO, at least the big ones, have a process for making
For tracking
sure
communication with sites.
tracking.
Yeah.
Is there a requirement like SOP?
It's a part of the contract with the client. The client, the sponsor of the trial that is hiring the CRA to manage this trial or to execute it, they will in their contracts very specifically and explicitly have stated how many hours or minutes per site per week or per month they are paying for, and then the CRO has to prove that they've done that work, which is you documenting all your site communications.
This is the site communications. Okay.
Yeah, so it ain't just picking up the phone and calling the study coordinator saying, hey, can you send me a scan? It's then also better to actually do that in an email, obviously, but then also track that usually somewhere in a communication tracking CTMS, a part of a clinical trials management system.
Very interesting. I'm asking selfishly because of my CRO.
Sure. Yeah.
But we've never been at we very early in this, and we've worked with only with small sponsors, so we've never been asked this.
Yeah.
But now I know to include that.
So where 90% of all CRAs will end up as one of the big CROs, and then that's a requirement. And then again, you have the training requirements. So not just protocol training, but you'll have like corporate SOP updates that you have to review. Big CROs will then force you to go through an assessment online, so you actually have to read this stuff. You can't just go like, yeah, click, I read it, mark it, checked. Any company policies and general ICH GCP training. They'll not just let you do one training at the beginning of your CRA career and that's it. You'll be doing different focus on different parts of ICH GCP trainings and so forth and so on. So
Really? So,
oh yeah. I've done over 550 trainings now.
because I know every study usually wants you to do a special GCP just for them, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're referring to, or are you referring to even more specialized trainings than that?
No, the big CROs will have like this year we're focusing on this part of ICH GCP or in this quarter or so forth and so on. They do make sure that the people are on top of everything. So
So
yeah.
it's very in-depth training.
Yeah. I
on
mean,
certain
again,
areas.
I've done like 550. It was a few months ago, to be honest. Maybe it's past 600 trainings now. So you definitely pick up a bunch of knowledge, and it takes time, and you have to do the assessments and stuff like that. So this is all stuff that you're still reminder to our listeners and people watching on YouTube. This is all stuff we're still trying to squeeze into 5 hours a month. You have regular team calls with your
Here's
team.
how this movie ends. Your 5 hours are over, and you're still not done.
Yep. And then all of your other correspondence that you have on top of like weekly site calls or whatnot. Then there's usually an electronic trial master file where you'll have to do uploads and just cleanups and stuff like that. And then your trial may hit something special like a DMC or an interim analysis. So those things can happen. And then you have to attend or plan extra time with your sites, because those are points in the trial, say like an interim analysis, where the data is then pulled and analyzed interim in between during the study, where every patient that's come to a visit, all the data needs to be entered into a database by the sites, all their blood pressures, all their questionnaire results, whatever is being asked as data points. The sites that you monitor have to have entered all that stuff. Well, surprise, they will most likely not have entered everything. And then there's really funky guys locked away in a basement called data managers. And data management comes up with the wildest queries sometimes, which is questions they put into the database for the site to then clarify a certain data point that they entered for a patient. And until that is not all corrected and then called clean data, the interim analysis will not move ahead. So those are times where you are responsible for following up with your site on all those data points, getting all that stuff cleaned out at all of your sites to a certain deadline. So those things also happen on top. It's not like you're just supposed to do your 8 to 10 days on site and that's the end of it. There's a bunch of other stuff, and this is just one example that also comes in, and your patients at your sites may have serious adverse events that were documented. That is going to take a lot more time to reconcile and for you to follow up and make sure that everything's the way it's supposed to be.
It is no wonder why so many CRAs contact me about opening up their own sites, because I actually think you're going to work less and make more potentially working on your own business as opposed to working in someone's business. However, you got to figure out where you fit in and what makes you happy. Because if you're miserable as a CRA, then it makes sense. Maybe you need to open a site. But if you fail at that, then what are you going to do, right?
And what I've also heard from CRAs is that often, I mean, there's a high turnover in the industry, people leaving every 2 to 3 years, is that a lot of CRAs will switch companies just to get back into the, now you've got to do all the corporate training thing for like 2 months. Yeah. So it reduces the stress for 2 months.
They're playing the game. They're playing the arbitrage game of let me relax for 2 months, relax by doing trainings as opposed to traveling and then jumping ship. I mean,
and being involved in a project with all its deadlines and all these consequences and so forth and so on.
Turnover is awful. Yeah, this is one of the worst. CRA is horrible turnover ratios. I don't know the percentage, maybe you do, but study coordinator slightly less, actually a lot less, but it's still high.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and it boils down to work. I mean, I honestly think CRAs deserve more than what they make.
Yeah, I would argue that CRAs should have lower metrics of expectation because in
Yeah.
this simple example, we can see that 8 to 10 days on site, WTF?
I got a business partner from Texas, and he said this is trying to fit 10 pounds of shit in a 5 pound bag.
Mm-hmm,
That's
mm-hmm.
what he would say about all this. Like
Yeah,
trying to cram all that workload,
yeah,
into a bucket. It just some of it's gonna spill over, and that's
yeah,
that's where you're getting that turnover.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, and and there's still other stuff to do. Like you have to plan your travel. It's not like somebody's planning your travel for you. You have to schedule all that stuff for your sites. You have to plan it. Actually book your
Now
flight.
I know some series like contract series they hire assistants to help them with their invoicing, to help them with these kind of thing like travel arrangements.
Yeah,
Do you think
yeah.
that's a good idea?
Well, as a contract, sure,
Hmm.
sure, definitely, because you always have to do the math. How much money can I make in this time doing what
Yeah.
I'm better at versus, yeah, I'd rather pay somebody.
Now as an employee, doesn't make sense, right? The financials
No,
are not there.
yeah, and you can't. I
It actually might be illegal.
yeah, a CRO would definitely, you're breaching corporate policies.
Hmm.
Yeah, nobody else is allowed to know all that stuff where you're
I'm
traveling
sure
and
there's
doing
people that
this.
do it.
Maybe I haven't met
Yeah.
anybody though. Yeah, yeah.
Trying to think if I remember anyone doing that. Yeah. I
What?
know contract series do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. What else do you need to do as a CRA? You have your email communication. One of the hot topics also in my training course is how do you manage all that stuff without jumping out. I always say the main qualification you need to bring to the table to become a CRA is just one thing. You have to be able to resist the temptation of jumping out the window. If you bring that qualification to the table, then everything else is doable. But a nice example is really email management, and you have to stay on top of everything as a CRA. In a nutshell, you have to stay on top of everything. Now,
Very stressful.
you will go under. You will not survive if you have 2,000 emails in your inbox and you're trying to find stuff. You're losing time. We already discussed how much time you have. You have zero time to waste. Now, 2,000 emails, Daniel, that's never going to happen. Yeah, well, you easily get 30 emails a day as a CRA. Look at the calendar. Look at 2.5 months. Once they're over, you're past 2,000 emails.
How many sites would this be, you think?
Just average communication. I mean, anywhere between like 10, 20 sites. I mean, you got internal communication,
Yeah.
just an average day.
And
If
what
you're
is
getting
average for a CRA? Like, let's say an employee, one study, 8 sites, 3 studies, 8 sites.
I would say, well, it really depends on the phases and so forth. Like right now, and where most people are doing is like phase 3. Well, at least that's what I'm going to state now.
Yeah.
It's somewhere between 10 and 20 sites. It really also depends on how much work is involved around the management of those sites.
20 sites for one CRA.
It can happen. I would not recommend it. That's somebody who's heading towards a burnout. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, I think I'm around. If you do the math, because I have sites with like split teams for different trials, and I'm doing both, but it's technically like 2 sites, 2 different teams, different trials. I'd say it's around, I don't know, 12, 13 sites, something like that.
How
So,
much can you rely on your support staff, like in-house CRA?
a lot, a
A
lot.
lot.
Yeah, yeah. At least the company I work for,
So it's
that's
almost like having a
3
personal
people.
assistant. I mean, they can't do your billing for you, but they're doing like maintenance
Well,
and
everybody just does their part, and I can say for where I work, I can rely on them. I can rely on everyone. Team manager, project manager, in-house CRAs, they're all real awesome.
very
Awesome.
nice.
And right here, again, as in all of our interviews, I'm not saying which company I'm working for and so forth.
Yeah, I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even. I know you told me,
Yep.
I
Yeah.
forgot.
So again, I'm not placing an ad for them. So
Yeah.
yeah, great team. Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, again, emails. You're managing your emails, and again, do the math. 2.5 months, and you've easily hit 2,000 emails. This cannot happen. So constantly, you have to stay on top of that. And then you have like system updates and changes within your company that takes time to get acquainted with, do the trainings. You get onto a new trial. Every trial is going to have a different ECRF system, different lab portals, different IWRS systems, and whatnot. I worked on trials where you had like pulmonary databases and stuff like that. So you have to, plan training for all that kind of stuff. And you also have to know in the major CRO world that everything is, I always call this quote unquote made of glass, and is visible. If you want to,
but not glass ceilings.
No, absolutely not. A lot of female managers and so forth and so on. So for women, glass ceilings.
In this industry, you can say a lot about research, but this is a female-dominated industry.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's rare. Like here, with 2 male CRAs. This is like extremely rare, right?
Yes, and it's absolutely anti-discrimination across the board anywhere, no matter what kind of background you have. You will never have.
And why do you think that's the case? I mean, I have no theory on this.
I have no idea either. Maybe because it's so international from day one.
Yeah.
Because at least working in Europe, I know you had people from the Czech Republic, the United Kingdom, and South Africa and Korea on calls. So, what are you going to be racist? I mean,
well, my theory for the female is, I think when CRA initially started, it was an evolution, or it was like a specialized nurse, and nurses tend to skew female. I think still now today. That's my theory, but I mean I could be way off.
Yeah. I don't really have a theory that I stand behind 100%. But it's just a fact. No matter what, if you're gay or whatnot, no matter what country you're from, what race,
minority, none of that matters.
Not an issue at all in this industry. That actually should have put right at the top.
That's a good,
at the good of the list.
Right after
absolutely.
money. Right after money.
Yeah, absolutely. So you just can't cut corners in this industry. Coming back to this, everything being visible and so forth. There's systems in place that cross-check against each other, and the way the hierarchies are structured in these companies, people are checking certain things at certain times in certain systems. There's no way, if you think, well, this list is so long, I'm just going to cheat a little bit, that's going to work. It will not, my friend. It will not. There's way too much money at stake for the CROs for you to be making mistakes. They rely on their reputation to get new business. We're talking billions for the big CROs.
But here's a asterisk to that. Sure. So there's a good to this too. There's a good side of this coin as well, because this seems bad, and it is. Here's the good.
Well, it's only good if you're trying to cheat. So I just
let's put that out there.
Don't even think about it.
We're not telling you to go out and cut corners, but if you do, okay.
Now you got my attention here.
It's humans, right? I mean, human beings. If you do, and you get fired, it's supply and demand, okay? There is a shortage of CRAs everywhere, especially on the West Coast, but everywhere. Shortage. What does that mean? If you're a C- CRA or even a D CRA, you have a chance to get hired somewhere else. In other industries, might not be the case. They're going to say, why'd you get fired? Right?
Yeah. But I'd add an asterisk to that asterisk, and that would be it's a small industry. You don't want to burn your name.
The double asterisk.
Yeah, you don't want to burn your name. Yeah.
Eventually you're going to run out of places to go apply.
Yeah, both things are true. You'll find another job somewhere else. But first of all, if you're going to make the same mistakes there, if that's your kind of attitude towards this work, you're also going to get fired there eventually. It's not going to be a fun experience.
You're going to run out of places.
Yeah, just for getting money. Yeah.
Do you have more points? Because I have a couple of tangents we could go off here as we wrap up.
Okay. What else? Again, the CROs, every other mistake, if you're trying to cut corners, has been made by somebody else previously. And they have, and we're talking globally, anything that's been screwed up globally, they have put a process in place to prevent that from happening ever
Mm-hmm.
again. And
Mm-hmm.
that has happened for pretty much everything. You're 25 years late. If you want to screw up big time without getting caught, nowadays this doesn't work anywhere. And another fun factor
I
about
like that.
well, not another not so much fun factor, to be honest, is that this industry is, first of all, it's insanely complex. We talked about this on another interview, that it takes like 10 years to master things, and
Yeah.
this definitely goes for this industry. Well, on top of that, everything is evolving and moving in this industry. It's not an industry, again, like flipping burgers, where they're doing it the same way they've done
Yes.
it 20 years ago.
Yes.
Everything changes constantly. So on top of that, you're spending time acquainting yourself with the new system, staying on top of all that stuff. And I can imagine people listen to this and they think, well, still the perks are awesome, the pay is cool. I can do that. I'm an awesome performer. I'm sure I'm going to be able to do that. Another thing I would ask you to consider is, in the United States, for example, you are not always, well, no matter where you are, you're not always going to be like in your peak prime condition when you're doing your work as a
Right.
CRA. You're traveling a lot. Say if you're flying from Denver to Indianapolis, that's a 2-hour flight. Awesome. But you lost 2 hours because of time zones. So the next morning you have a monitoring visit starting at 8. So you get up at 6 to get to the site. Well, that's 4 a.m. your local time. Okay. Obviously, that doesn't happen 3 times a week, but you have to consider that there are other factors. Also, you're sleeping on a hotel bed. Not everybody sleeps perfectly fine in a different hotel bed every
The
night.
wear and tear of travel. I don't care what you flew. I flew JetBlue to New York. First row, extra leg room. Doesn't matter. When you're
Hmm.
on that red eye, you
Yeah.
could be on a bed in the plane, and it won't make any difference. I mean, you're traveling. It's the altitude, the ears. My ears are still like clogged from the flight, and that was a week
Hmm.
ago. Like I'm using this Vicks right now,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I don't try. I mean, it's the little things that add up. You're right.
And the sounds, different city, just different sounds in the background and whatnot. Different
Everything.
bed,
I
different
needed like
feel.
2 days to like sleep for 12 hours a day to just start
Yeah.
getting better.
Yeah, and a lot of CRAs, like on Facebook pages, but we've talked about that before, like no, clinical
Clinical
research
research memes. I
memes.
didn't even pull it up because there's so much we can
Yeah,
talk about without that. I mean,
and
go
and
on there and
and a
read
lot
sob
of
stories.
yeah, and a lot of people there will joke about drinking and needing a drink and so forth and so
Oh,
on.
Sierras drink a lot.
The
Wow.
only comment I have about drinking and maybe other medication and being a CRA, 2 words: be careful.
Be careful, guys
I'll
and
just
gals.
I'll just leave it at that.
Drinking is, yeah. I don't know
Yeah.
about the meds, but drinking can get.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Be
Don't
careful. That's a whole nother podcast.
exactly. And then the last point of stuff that you need to consider is, well, life happens. I mean, on top of all this stuff, we're still talking about a perfect world where these are all your tasks. And I'm going to be a little bit personal here, but because that just happened to me like 2 months ago, is and I have, again, I put up a bullet point so I don't forget anything. But I relocated to a different house, so I had to clear out the old house and was moving. So this is all stuff that you have to squeeze in your free time somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Then my dad, who lives on the other end of the United States, had a stroke, and I'm his only close relative, so I had to take care of all that stuff. Life happens. Then I had one of these mentioned interim analysis on one of my studies. Well, there is no fucking excuse. The data is going to be in on Friday. Okay, we don't.
Yeah.
Then I had a DMC on another trial. That's a data monitoring committee, which is not quite as bad as an interim analysis, but also you need to have stuff in there. Then on top of that, 2 of the 4 CRAs on our team quit overnight. So their sites had to be redistributed among us other 2 CRAs. So bam,
Yeah.
here's some extra sites to manage. And I had long-term planned PTO and that time, paid time off. So I had to squeeze all this stuff in the remaining time. I could not cancel this time off. So just take into consideration that those things also happen. Life happens.
Thanks for
So
sharing the personal story.
sure. It can happen to anybody and does.
It
So
does, yeah.
it's just the good and bad of CRA.
Even as a contract CRA, I have the sweetest gig you can imagine. I don't need to travel. I go to 2 sites that are in my neighborhood. I went to visit my brother in Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a database lock, and it's not even in my contract, but I did it because I like these people. They said, "Hey, can you please go in and sign all these or freeze all these visits?" And I'm supposed to remember like all the data. I didn't bring any books with me. I'm on vacation. But guess what? I did it because they asked me to do it, and I want to keep them happy. So I had to stop what I was doing. Hey, hold on, guys. Do you have a computer I can use? I need to freeze some visits. Of course, they don't know what that means, but they're like, hey, go ahead. So I spent like half an hour doing that on my own time. So even if for a contract CRA, life happens and work happens, and work needs to get done.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just really important, and that was important to me kind of on this call, is give somebody who is like you said, it's shrouded in mystery, this job, is just to try to help paint a clearer picture of what this job is like.
Very good idea, Daniel. We need to get them grounded because everyone thinks this is like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and it just might be your nightmare.
It might be, yeah, and I definitely, again, that's why I coach people. What I recommend for anybody who's new becoming a CRA is from day one, write everything down that you will be expected to do and organize yourself from day one. And the temptation in this job when you're new to it is that things sound very simple. The challenge being a CRA is actually juggling the 10,000 things that all by themselves are quite simple. The challenge to you is to really manage all those things. So from day one, resist the temptation to think, oh, I'll just remember this. This is so easy. I'll just remember that. That is so easy. Well, 4 weeks down the road, and every 10 minutes, there's something new that in itself is very simple. It's going to kill you.
Something as simple as getting a healthy meal when you are monitoring sounds very simple. And when you're rushed for time and McDonald's is one click away, on my CRO gig, we'll end with this one. On my CRO gig, I had an Airbnb in the Bronx. I had 2 sites in the Bronx. I wanted to eat healthy just like I do at home, right? I gained 5 pounds that week. I was eating McDonald's every morning because it was quick, and I needed something to fill my stomach up so that I could go monitor. And then I'm in New York, so I'm eating good food anyways. But like simple things. You got to have extreme discipline if you do this every week. Luckily, I don't do this every week, but for the people that do, I mean, it's a lifestyle. You gotta have your priorities in order.
And on top, absolutely.
Something as simple as planning your meals sounds easy. Okay, but what are you gonna do when the rubber meets the road and you gotta be at the site in 15 minutes and McDonald's is 3 minutes away? Are you gonna go out of your way to find a Whole Foods and have like some granola, and then risk being late, or are you gonna get that sausage McMuffin because it's easy?
That's what I grab my granolas the previous day. Seriously, I'll have my granolas with me, and
That's smart. It's because you've been doing
tea
this
and
for a
whatnot. And it's those things, and plus all those simple things that you are taught from day one when you start your trainings as a CRA. Jot everything down. Try to figure out a system where you organize yourself to do that. Especially under this time pressure, people are easy to say, well, I don't have time for setting up this tool for myself and so forth. It will come back to bite you if you don't do it. And people think, well, maybe this is also simple stuff. I'm not going to put all this in writing to myself as like a checklist or whatnot. I'm going to look dumb. Again, it's the 10,000 things. You're easily tempted into thinking this is simple and this is simple. And making this leap to, no matter how simple it is, I'm putting it in my tool and on a checklist, and I'm going to work with that thing, and I know everything's in here that I need to do, because you are going to get lost with these 10,000 other things. And
absolutely,
you have to juggle them all without dropping a single ball ever.
Well, Daniel, we're going to leave people on a cliffhanger teaser for the next episode we do, because employees want me to go to happy hour right now. Life is tough, man.
I know.
But
what car are you driving there?
Actually, my Challenger's in the shop, so I have a Dodge Journey loaner car. It's pretty much a minivan. very strange driving that car right now. But I was gonna say that the teaser will be, well, before the teaser, despite all this negative stuff we ended with, I still think CRA is a fantastic career opportunity. I'm sure you'll agree with
Yeah,
me, right?
I've been doing
Clinical
it for
research in
years. There's good
general,
reasons for it. Yep.
this entire industry is a great industry to be in. So just you gotta, we're just showing you your options. It's not all
Yeah, you
sunshine and
got to
rainbows.
know what you're getting yourself into, and you got to be prepared for it, and then it's manageable.
And go to the CRAcoach.com to learn how to manage effectively. Go to the CRAacademy.com if you don't know what the hell you're doing, and then graduate to the CRAcoach.com.
Yeah, yeah.
Cliffhanger, teaser, the future of the CRA role. Because it's all nice now, supply and demand, but guess what? These people
Mm-hmm.
at the sponsors that I'm talking to, that I'm actually trying to partner with, they're thinking of ways to cut costs. They don't
Yeah,
care about your work-life balance. They don't care about your happiness. They'll rather have an algorithm do it. And that's the teaser. And I don't even know your opinion on this, nor do I want to, because I want to be surprised when we do our next interview.
and yep, I'll keep it to myself
Teaser.
until
How's
then.
that for a cliffhanger?
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Go
Drum
to the
roll.
CRAcoach.com. I hear great things about Daniel. And catch y'all later.
Take care, guys.